You see me?
Well, I understand you,
Straight
fine.
guys.
When you say now, King. King. King.
Oh, make them move them bum clit and say anything they want to say.
Yeah. I like me. You don't know your name?
No, I just realize that me a talk, man.
Oh. What are that your name on TikTok? So
Yeah,
yes, you
fam.
go
Yeah.
on now.
Go one side.
So, yeah,
Another.
so you was watching the case for him?
No, father.
No, father, I didn't get to call through the work by you see me. We never watch a case, but we just a pray. Good vibes we are deal with. And we not to pray. Road we say. Kill.
2 Benz there in our place.
Mm-hmm.
You got yourself 2 Benz.
mm-hmm.
Freedom.
You can't go on hold on the vibes, man. Hold on the vibes, man, same way. I just want to hear what King has said now. Because I want the people them kind of talk, so different people can come up in the box here.
Freedom.
Yeah, man. Everybody want to talk, you know. I'm talk, man, and come in by the way. You see me?
Yes, so. When you go on all the reason, then none of those.
Thank you, Lord. It's just another day. I don't want them, I don't want to hear. Thank you, Jamie. We get up this morning.
Right now, I run for Prime Minister and win a seat with ease.
And that then you know say they want to win.
Right now, I'm going to politics and say I run as Prime Minister, opposition. Footer get kick away.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. If
You
Cartel
think
come
that's
around
sure?
and shit then start it right now.
Yeah, because the whole young people they would have vote for him.
Yeah. Then I must.
All the election and put on Cartel out in the middle. All the election put
The
on
one thing
Cartel
that
in
alone
the
I have come to say. Okay, what this one now? Anybody want to put in them, can come up in the box.
Remember when me just
Send gift back. 2 Benz,
every
you send invite and me send back the invite. You know, 'cause you know, say, I'm not eat, you know. You tell me, say, that works still.
Christian pen. Every Thursday me dey Christian pen. At that time I know Cartel. One day for white like a chalk.
No bet you.
In them cut off jeans.
No, and again say, yo, I'm not for she do. To the way that me yard out pop up and slow. Where people them there no come in.
Free Cartel, no come in. One Spain town badness.
You see,
Killer.
They say a labor right send Cartel a prison that day.
Killer.
yeah. Shh. Hey, mama, shh. Not too chatty. Cause some of them family are listening. You know.
A Peter Phillips and Lisa and send
We're
Cartel.
no business if they want to listen while we know we are talking right thing over here, so.
Uncle Jai.
Not too chatty, mama, not too chatty.
Tawawa H control.
All them have to do listening, you know, because it's true. They can't say the boss without every day. They go look back for them pitney.
Stop lying.
They go look for them pitney.
Yeah, cause
When you go there with no man, so like wax. What's
Brown,
the
why pray?
H control or Ocean?
Open.
Brown. Moderator.
On Gaza Nation, yeah, man, I go and take in for the live, yeah. Live, look interesting.
I want to hear review.
Get up! You feel hear when people chat to you.
Me, the man, I stick with Gaza fans, you know, me nah switch, nah changes, you me. One real boss, man, no boy testing, man, you see me. Dark case look good, man, cause me listen to dark case from the start to the end, you see me. That, to me, that come a road, man. I be sitting there in a case, you see me. Be a fought them finance is in the Tampa case and one bar sitting so. Dog have a good chance, is it?
Yeah.
Dog
More
have a
that than we
good
see that.
chance, man.
Have a good chance.
Some send me Adi Bantan. Some send me a teacher. Now them say about the bleacher. Him the roll boss. And now, let's welcome on stage none other than Vybz. Ready the music plays and the road we dance to the moon till it rise and the sun in a deep dark. Over there so now, here get a while left me in a chance, but I know me alone who pay the chance, and the share of him and in us in a samsa. But we say Gaza, he survive. Then a man and a woman come to meet and fun. Every dance and dance till let me feel up. No need no gun, it's a Vybz party. Money in my pocket me a spender. I'm a friend, brother. The party get justin, get some super, get fantas, get some sanitary cup in the plastic. But in surface, somebody get high. Get the one, the lady, water from the tonic wine. Come on. Get the ready party. People love you, no one make the bars and master. See what I do? Roman, but niggas up in the
man a sell bush grabber and a charge me.
Hey, you serious? Why make you never call me? Papi, when there?
See that?
Some says, what kind of grabber that you're selling? What a way. The rope system no good. Papi, tell him. You know, red rose. No money spending.
Hot.
And what kind of grabber that you're selling? What a way. The rope system no good. Papi, tell him. You know, red rose. No money spending.
Hot grabber. How are we? Cut it up in a the wheat feed bada. Crooked and cracked. Hot grabber. Cut it up in a the wheat feed.
Yeah, me nah no plating smoking thing, you know. Mommy, from me wake up, me start smoke. The weed smoking now I shoot. No boy can't say me take coke. Me start it that way, yeah. Oh, from me wake up, a ganja, me sleep longer, gotta make it stronger. Hey, the red rose turn up me hunger. All who about them weed, we have so. Me a big up and big sweet. Inna me bed cool. Can you crack it? You must lick it. Inna go trigger my any every nivel. So that me have to take off it. Clear the winner who wanna get back. Everybody have to say adieu. Back up on your body. Dance a man them no fish it. Cause a woman alone inna me bed. Girl sit down on it. You love me baby. So that me have to take off it. Clear the winner who wanna get back. Everybody have to say adieu, sing it. No. Hey, some says, if you know of me medicine, me can't bother. Grabber. All feet have the weed, Bobo Shabba. Sing now, from me wake up. The weed smoking on my throat. Yo, Wallace, my face feel warm. Jump no man, you look man, to take your life for me. After you see him, gonna fire for me. Never fight with this head for your fire for me. And I drink sweet pie, so she higher for me. We got up in a dance, gala fire for me. She said me have the remedy for fire. So me no use Viagra, me no buy your salad. She said tell you the remedy you apply, and me say, hear me now, girl from every area. Me them want to tear it up. How my people love me so. The girl never said we are them. Straight jeans and fitted and whiteys. She said each and your skin look nicey. Remember the song we run this summer last year? Oh, go V-neck, T-shirt, jewelry, Legion, that's all. Sing the part street.
Which is that all of this could be dealt with by jury directions. The first point I want to make is it links back to the question or the point I think my Lord Reid put to me just before lunch. Jury directions obviously can be, so I was about to say are, but I don't think it won't always be the case, and that's why I changed my language. Jury directions can be important ways of keeping a trial on track. The fundamental problem, though, in this case, there are two fundamental problems that explain why jury directions, even if they had been in stronger terms than the ones in this case, would not have been enough. And the two fundamental problems are this. Firstly, goes back to a point I made this morning, willing to offer bribes. He was willing to break the law. Directions assume that the juror will comply with what they're being told. But if a juror is willing to demonstrate that they are willing to break their oath, willing to act unlawfully, directions cannot solve that in our submission. The second problem with a direction is that implicit in Putnam, and what is said in Putnam about the potential for late reporting, for example, demonstrating that a juror had failed to comply with their oath and was going to be unable to avoid being biased. Implicit in Putnam is the need to know how far the poison has spread, to use the language of Putnam, before giving a direction, because directions will only work if the poison hasn't spread too far or hasn't become too deeply embedded in individuals' thought-making process. Here, because of the limited information about what had actually occurred, in our submission, there was no way of knowing whether the directions were sufficient. And that's one of the reasons why questioning the jury can be important. We would say, and I'll come back to this in reply if necessary, but it's probably clear from our, in any event, all that was said in this case, of course, was that the jury were reminded of their oath. Smith, I won't take you to it, but it's 7671, House of Lords at para 24, makes it clear that directions need to be apposite, clear and emphatic. They were not in this case. And there's no reason why the jury couldn't have been expressly addressed effectively about bribes and how they should ignore the bribery attempt, because, of course, on the evidence given, or the account given by the forewoman, not technically evidence, but on the account given by the forewoman, everyone was aware that there'd been this approach. Everyone was aware that one of their number had been placing a bribe. But as I say, fundamentally in our submission, this was a case, and there have to be those cases where it's just gone too far. The Crown has raised the issue of the proviso. In our submission, the proviso is inappropriate in this context, and we've certainly, neither side has been able to identify, as far as I'm aware, any case where the proviso has been applied in circumstances where an appellate court has reached the conclusion that bribery or similar problems have occurred. The reason for that in our submission is this. Independent tribunal. The Jury Act, unsurprisingly, given what is common practice in many countries around the world, provides that that trial must be by a jury. No one has, in this case, none of the defendants in this case, have waived their right to trial by jury. Waiver, we make reference to it, again I won't take you to it because it's probably trite. Miller and Dixon, Lord Bingham, waiver has to be voluntary, informed and unequivocal. The reference to that, if you want it, is page 7008, paragraph 31. So no one has waived their rights. If the proviso were to be applied by this court in relation to the jury issues, it would be, having not heard any evidence, having not been able to assess the witnesses, having inevitably, and this is no criticism of any party, having inevitably limited information. And that's, as I say, not consistent with the rights that I've just described, the clear rights as a matter of Jamaican law to trial by an independent jury. In our submission, the Court of Appeal was right in Brown to say it doesn't effectively paraphrasing what the strength of the evidence was, because ultimately there was a right to trial by an impartial tribunal. We submitted yesterday a judgment in the Supplementary Authorities bundle of Appeal of Guyana, page 16 and 17 of that supplementary bundle, which is page 6 and 227 of the report, which is last two lines of page 16 and the first 5 of the next page, adopts the approach I've just described, which is saying you can't apply proviso because there was a constitutional right to trial by 11 jurors. not a constitutional right, but a right as a matter of law to trial by 11 jurors.